Okay, so you're here because, well, you want to get smart fast.
Yeah.
You want the insights, right?
Mhm.
But without all the endless scrolling.
Exactly. Less noise, more signal.
Precisely. And today, we're diving into something, well, it's fascinating, maybe a bit funny too. It's how to sound like a leader
Uh-huh.
without actually, leading. We've been looking at some material on this, the kind of phrases people use to sound like they're in charge.
Or maybe just trying to dodge a bit of work.
Could be. So yeah, our mission today is to really unpack these phrases. What do they sound like they mean versus, well, what might be lurking underneath?
Right. We're drawing on some observations, some analyses, looking at these, let's call them fake leadership phrases. The goal is to help you spot them, understand them, maybe even, resist the urge to use them yourself. Or maybe use them strategically. Who knows?
Hmm. We'll see. We'll look at different types, and apparently there are even some cultural variations on this.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's not quite the same everywhere.
Okay, let's dig in. So the material suggests there are sort of three main flavors of these phrases. First up, the visionary ones.
Ah, yes, the visionary. Sounds very grand, very strategic.
Totally. But the analysis suggests the reality is often just, well, it's kind of vague, isn't it? We need to future-proof this. Sounds impressive.
It really does. Very proactive, very forward thinking. But often it pops up when nobody actually knows what the future holds or what steps to take.
Right. It's like saying, let's acknowledge the future exists without needing a concrete plan.
Exactly. It's pointing vaguely towards the horizon, no map required.
Okay, another one in this category that, oh boy, I hear all the time. Let's think outside the box.
Oh, the classic outside the box.
What's the hidden meaning there, usually?
Well, what's interesting is it often comes up when there's a problem, but there's no actual suggestion for how to think differently. It can sometimes feel like, okay, we're stuck. Someone else figure out something brilliant.
Yeah, like creative panic mode. You be
You
creative now.
pretty much. It shifts the pressure without really offering a new way to approach things.
Okay. Moving to category two, the decisive phrases. These are meant to sound confident, like you're making a call, but maybe it's more like guessing.
Could be. A really common one here is, I'll take this offline. Sounds responsible, right? Like you're going to handle it personally.
Yeah, I got this. But what's the potential downside or the other interpretation?
What's fascinating is that taking it offline can be a really effective way to just stop talking about something difficult in front of everyone.
Ah,
And there's a decent chance it might not get picked up again with the same urgency or maybe at all. It can kind of kill transparency.
oh, I've seen that move. Very smooth. Another one that sounds decisive. Let's table this.
Yeah.
Sounds like a strategic pause, right? We'll come back to it.
That's the impression, yeah. But the analysis we looked at, it often suggests tabling it is more like putting it on a shelf indefinitely.
So let's never discuss this again, politely.
That can be the unspoken message, yes. It signals it's just not a priority.
Ouch. Okay, third type. Fake busy phrases. Love these. Designed to make you sound swamped. Super important.
Uh-huh. Max capacity.
But maybe, just maybe, you're trying to avoid a task. What are some big ones here?
Well, you hear I'm heads down on something quite a bit. Paints this picture of intense focus, doesn't it?
Totally.
Yeah.
Locked in, do not disturb. But what might really be happening behind that heads down shield?
Sometimes there's a bit of a gap between that image of deep work and, well, whatever's actually on the screen. Could be Twitter, could be anything. It signals unavailable without needing specific.
Right. Very useful barrier. What about, let me socialize this. What's the play there?
Ah, socialize this. It sounds collaborative, like you're building consensus, but often it really means you go tell everyone else for me.
So you delegate the awkward conversations.
Essentially, yeah. It's pushing the information out through others while you still kind of look like you're managing the comm strategy.
Wow. This is all hitting a bit close to home.
Hmm.
And speaking of which, we actually got a listener comment that nails this.
Mm.
At Leadership Fraud said, get this, said, let's synergize in a meeting. My team nodded. I still don't know what it means.
That is perfect. Absolutely perfect. Because it shows how people just go along with it, right? Nobody wants to be the one asking, what does synergy actually mean here?
Yeah, you just nod sagely. Avoid looking clueless.
Exactly. It's performative.
Okay, so let's flip this. How can someone, maybe someone who isn't actually the boss, use this stuff to sound like they are? Or maybe just sound more influential? The source material had tips. First, the we trick. What's that about?
Yeah, this one's subtle. Instead of saying, you need to do this, You shift it to, we need to do this, or we should action this.
So it spreads the responsibility, even if it's really directed at one person.
Kind of, yeah. It sounds more collaborative, more like you're setting a team direction, but it subtly avoids a direct command and implies collective buy-in, even if you're not the one doing the work.
Very smooth. Okay, what else? The defer to process move.
Ah, yes. This is where you lean on the rules. You say things like, per company policy, or following the established procedure.
The bureaucratic shield.
Exactly. It makes the decision sound objective, unavoidable, and not your fault. You're just the messenger enforcing the sacred rules. It deflects personal responsibility.
Can't argue with policy. Clever. And the fake deadline power play.
This is about creating urgency out of thin air, saying something like, let's target EOD for this. End of day.
Even if EOD is completely arbitrary.
Sometimes, yeah. The analysis suggests these deadlines can be more about making things feel urgent and making you look like you're driving things forward, rather than being based on a genuine critical need.
Ooh, sneaky. And there was even a pro tip mentioned, wasn't there, for maximum impact with minimum effort.
Indeed. The tip was, always say, keep me posted.
Why that one?
Well, think about it. It makes you sound engaged, interested, like you're monitoring progress.
But it requires zero actual work from you.
Exactly. You've just tasked the other person with doing the follow-up for you. Deviously efficient, as you said.
Okay, this is fascinating.
Yeah.
Now, what about those cultural differences you mentioned? Does this fake leadership talk sound different around the world?
Oh, absolutely. Communication styles vary, and so does this kind of coded language. It adapts. For instance, in American business settings, you might hear, let's double-click on this.
Right. And what's the likely subtext there? More work.
Not necessarily more work, but maybe more talking. The suggestion is it can mean let's spend more time discussing this, potentially, without actually getting closer to a decision or deeper insight. It can just, prolong things.
More clicking, less resolving.
Got it.
How about in the UK?
A British example highlighted is, I'll revert shortly. Sounds prompt, sounds helpful. But the interpretation sometimes is that shortly can be quite flexible. It can be a polite way to delay or maybe even signal that it's not top of the list and might not happen quickly, if at all.
The subtle British art of the, let's call it time-flexible commitment. In Australia.
The Aussie one is great. Flat out like a lizard drinking.
Uh-huh. I love that image. What does it mean?
It just means incredibly busy, totally swamped. Basically, I'm too busy to deal with this right now, but in a much more colorful way.
Fantastic. And we had a listener hack related to this too, right? From A at Buzzword Bandit.
Yeah, this was interesting. They said, I reuse executive phrases from all hands meetings. No one questions it.
That's kind of brilliant, actually. Just borrow the jargon from the top.
It points to how certain language, especially if it sounds like it comes from leadership, can carry this sort of unearned authority. People often just accept it without really probing the meaning.
Okay, listeners, assignment time. We're issuing a fake leader spy challenge. Ready?
Let's do it. Mission 1.
Mission 1. Just listen. In your next meeting, your next interaction, try to spot one phrase that sounds impressive but might be a bit empty. The example given is low-hanging fruit.
Yes, the low-hanging fruit usually just means the easy work someone else can do.
Exactly. So keep your ears open for anything like that. What's mission 2?
Mission 2 is more active. Try, if the situation fits, using the phrase, let's take this offline.
Ooh, daring. And the goal?
Just observe the reaction. Does the tension in the room drop? Do people seem relieved? It can be quite revealing about the conversation dynamics.
Okay. And mission 3. This one feels a bit spicy.
Mission 3 is deploying per my last email.
Oh, classic passive-aggressive power move.
Well, the instruction is just, if someone seems confused about something you've already clearly communicated in writing, try using it gently and just notice the effect. Often, silence.
Love it. And there was one last kind of funny anecdote shared, right? About boiling the ocean.
Yes. Someone apparently said, let's boil the ocean in a brainstorm, which usually means trying to do way too much, an impossible task.
Yeah.
And their boss promoted them. Hashtag fake it till you make it. Maybe an exaggeration, but it kind of illustrates how just sounding ambitious, even nonsensically so, can sometimes register positively. Wow. Okay, so wrapping this up, the big takeaway here is you're now armed, right?
Yeah.
You have this knowledge about these fake leadership phrases.
You can spot them, decode them, understand the potential hidden meanings, even the cultural nuances.
So you can use this intel wisely, maybe to sound powerful yourself, maybe just to avoid some unnecessary work, or simply to understand what's really being said.
It gives you a different lens to view workplace communication.
Definitely. And, here's a final thought to chew on. What does it really say about our workplaces that this kind of language is so common? Is it harmless jargon? Is it just office theater?
Or perhaps does it mask deeper issues, like a lack of real clarity, or maybe difficulty with direct communication, or even a confusion about what genuine leadership actually looks like?
Yeah. What does it truly mean to be an effective leader if it's not just about sounding like one? Something to think about.